On this episode of Coastal Cooking Presents Quick Bites, we have Chef Jason from Constant Coffee and Tea, and he's making tomato basil frittatas dressed with buttermilk biscuits and cut fruit. Stick around and find out how it's done.
Welcome to Coastal Cooking Quick Bites, brought to you by Pensacola Energy.
Welcome back to another episode of Coastal Cooking Presents Quick Bites. I'm your host, John Scanlon, and I have a very special guest in the kitchen with me today. We have Chef Jason from Constant Coffee and Tea. Chef Jason, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for having me back.
And so this is your third episode. Make sure you catch Jason's other two episodes. Some fantastic dishes have already been created. And you're with Constant Coffee and Tea. Two locations in Pensacola, one at 11C Palafox Place. That's inside the breezeway of the Blunt building. Newly renovated, fantastic spot, very nice. And you have another location on Scenic Highway.
Yes.
Where Scenic Highway turns into
Cervantes in East Pensacola Heights.
Yep, and that's another great location. So what do you have on for your final dish of the day?
Well, this is the special one in that it's the one dish that contains no beans. This is our frittata. This is going to be a tomato basil frittata today. In the shop in East Pensacola Heights, we do a frittata of the day. It's chosen by the chef every morning, and generally we do a ham and cheddar, but we also like to change it up a little bit. And this is one of the ones that we've done in the past, a tomato basil. We're going to be setting this up so that it can be cooked we cook our frittatas to order. We find that they have a better staying power, they're a little bit nicer, and so what we're going to make is a small round frittata. We're going to use a muffin tin, and we're going to have this set up so that you at home can make everything, and when you have your Sunday brunch with friends, they bring over the champagne, and you throw together these wonderful little cakes.
Excellent.
And
you've already made homemade biscuits here, and you have those in the oven.
Yes.
But they're at home. If you're making them, just get canned biscuits, whatever you need to, or you can make it homemade it yourself, or you can go by and see Jason and have homemade there.
Yep. So we're going to start with getting our filling put together. We're going to do a garden filling, which is our tomatoes, our basil, and then we have a little bit of Holy Trinity. For this part of the country, our onions, peppers, and parsley. Go ahead and get that put together fairly quickly, and just gonna have a sort of 2 parts onion to 1 part parsley and 1 part pepper, kind of ratio. A lot of this has to do with really how much of this stuff are you trying to make, and that's going to dictate how much you're going to use. You can use a whole onion, you can use a half an onion, you can use a quarter of an onion. And once you have the amount of onions that you're interested in, you can just kind of pile everything else up next to them.
Gotcha.
So we'll go ahead and
so that's just about half a green pepper.
Yep. So we have half an onion, half a large onion, half a medium-sized green pepper, and then most of a packet of parsley.
Yeah.
That plastic blister pack that you get at the store.
Small handful.
Something in that area. I could probably measure that if I wanted to.
Now, I'm interested. This is going to be a great recipe, I think, because it's not too often where you see a lot of vegetables and a lot of fruit all in the same preparation.
I like fruit.
I do too. I love fruits and I love vegetables. I think this is going to be fantastic.
I like fruit. I like vegetables. Meat's expensive. I like to have a number of things that Also, meat's heavy. Not everybody wants to eat meat every day. A lot of people are cutting out meat directly, or cutting out all animal products as a political or an eco statement. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's just trying to be on board with everybody.
Absolutely,
as best we can.
Well, I know on your first episode you made the red pepper soup. There's no meat in it, but that soup was fantastic. Make that at home. Go see Jason and get it.
You can use cashew cream to make that vegan. All you have to do is adjust some of your vegetables and your cooking processes to make way for that nutty flavor. And so there's no reason that.
And even your boutonnieres, without the eggs.
Without the eggs, that would be a vegan dish.
You're back to it, and so in both excellent dishes that. Incredible, even without the meat. And I'm sure if you love meat, you can throw some in the soup or into the boutonnieres, if you wanted.
Marco puts chorizo in them.
I could see it. That'd be a really good addition to it.
So we're just going to go ahead and get a light coating of oil over the whole pan. So I'm going to just toss my vegetables in there the same way that I would start anything that I'm using the Holy Trinity for.
So we're just going to brown those a little bit?
Yep, there's no reason to be fussy about it. And the only reason that I'm browning them is at this point for this preparation is because I'm going to use that muffin tin. I want them to be cooked to a certain extent before they go in, because you don't want to have raw stuff in the middle coming out, so on and so forth. So we'll just go ahead and get that going.
So what's the next part of the dish?
The next part of the dish is to put together a frittata base. So all I'm going to do is cut this basil to the way that I'm going to want it for my final product. And that gives us our wonderful ribbons that will be all out in front of our frittata for a wonderful presentation. So now we can do our frittata base, and that is going to be easy enough. For this one, we've got 5 eggs here, and what we're going to do is actually we can just put that right in there. You can use a whisk for this. You can use you can do it by hand. Food processor will work too. Just as long as I'm used to my garbage can being behind me, as everyone can tell. So we just throw our eggs in there.
I never really thought about that before. Your kitchen's your home, especially at the restaurant, and so you do have those habits where you're used to things a certain way, and it's kind of funny to see that.
Yeah, muscle memory. So the next time you have that friend over and they're asking you where everything is for the 100th time. So we have 5 eggs. We got a couple tablespoons of cream. And we've got a little bit of Dijon mustard. And it's about a teaspoon of that. And then salt and pepper to taste. So now we just finish that off with most of our cheese. We want to reserve some cheese to top and present.
And that's just a couple handfuls there. It's
yeah.
I'd say a little more than a cup, maybe a cup and a half.
Somewhere in that area. You measured it, I didn't. And then we'll just get this going. And the thing about using the blender is that it's gonna let us get a real frothy texture out of the eggs, and that's gonna help with making them raise up real high. And there we have it. And then we can just transfer it over to here where our ladle will work really well. And now we're back with our Trinity.
Now we're just thinly slicing a couple of tomatoes to go on there, and
yeah, probably start with just this one, given the amount of mix that we have. And I try to keep them relatively thin because they leak moisture, and moisture can give the frittata a little bit more of a steamed texture than it would usually have. And sometimes people will accuse you of having your frittata a little underdone, and I don't care for that very much. So keeping the slices fairly thin stops it from being that much of an issue.
That's interesting. All right, so we got you went ahead and heated up the muffin pan.
Yeah, just to make it cook a little faster.
Okay.
It's not a necessary step, but it does kind of just help everything set up a little quicker.
And we sprayed it with some Pam, just to make it a little easier taking out of there. And now it's time for the
Assembly.
Trinity.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and bring that in. And this is really going to depend on the size of your muffin cup. So we're using what appears to be just a regular old soup spoon. And we'll just portion these out. And this stuff will, like I said, it will sit in the fridge. And all you gotta do is heat it up a little bit on a pan, throw it into your tins, and then you throw your egg mixture on it, and it works good to go. I like easy. I don't know if that's become apparent at this point, but I do very much enjoy easy. So I'm going to take a little bit, and I'm just going to drop this in here, and it will rise a little, so you don't want to necessarily have it be way up to the top. That again is something that's going to depend on your pan to a certain extent. If it does come up above and you do get a little bit of that overflow, it's no big deal. You just cut it off. It's not going to be enough to affect your dish in any real way. And again, it's sort of trial and error to figure out where on your pan that's going to be. So now we've got that. And then I'm going to take my tomato and I'm just going to lay it on there. And you can decide how to present these.
Need one more. Looks like the tomatoes are taking little frittata jacuzzis right there. They're just kind of...
Well, you know, you gotta keep it classy, right?
Yeah.
And just...
Well, this is just, you know, some of that chopped basil.
It makes for a nice kind of look. And then we have a little bit of cheese.
And then these will go in the oven on what, about 350?
These are going to go in for 350 and they will stay for 15 to 20 minutes depending on your oven, your desired level of doneness, and the size of them.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And
Excellent. We'll put them in the oven and then get ready. We'll bring them out and we'll be back. All right, so we just pulled out the homemade biscuits and the tomato basil frittatas. They've been in the oven cooking about 15 minutes. Again, follow the recipes for biscuits. You can get canned biscuit or you can have your one at home. So we're ready to plate these things up. We already got the fruit on the plate. We got a little bit of blackberries, some cut apples, some cut oranges, and Jason has the hard part now.
they're pretty resilient. It's just whether or not you can get under them. So
It looks like you know what you're doing.
I've done this once or twice.
Yeah.
So there we are, and you can serve one, and we've got our biscuit, and we'll just set everything out there, and that is our little situation that we can get going on, and everyone will be very happy with it. If you're extra hungry, just throw another one on the plate, and we'll be good to go.
Awesome. So there you have it. That's from Constant Coffee and Tea, Chef Jason. That's this tomato basil frittata with buttermilk biscuits and some cut fruit. Make sure you go see them. Again, Constant Coffee and Tea got 2 locations. One at 11C Palafox Place, right downtown, beautiful new building, a beautifully renovated building.
Yeah, it's not a new building.
No, it's got a lot of history there.
1906, I believe.
Oh my
I could be
goodness.
wrong about that. I have to look it up.
It's in the Breezeway. Go see them. Also, go see them there on right there where Scenic Highway turns into Cervantes. Constant Coffee and Tea. Go enjoy the atmosphere, some coffee, and some excellent food. And make sure to watch his other episodes as well. And we'll see you next time on Coastal Cooking Presents Quick Bites.
This has been Coastal Cooking Quick Bites, brought to you by Pensacola Energy.